So it's 2024, and one of the weirdest things I see again happening is the fact that people don't know how to set up their columns in Ads Manager to help them analyze their data effectively. If you're not setting up your columns the right way, you're not going to be able to analyze your data effectively, which will affect how you look at things and see through the Ads Manager. And on the long run, you're not going to be able to audit and optimize your ad account the right way. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I set up my columns in Ads Manager for better tracking and reporting, and how you can use this format to get your columns the right way. Now, before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can stay updated on every video that I post. And if you find this video very insightful, give it a thumbs up so you can help the algorithm rank better. Now let's jump into the Ads Manager. Alright guys, so let's get into it. Now, a lot of people actually know how to launch a Facebook ad campaign, like going into the Ads Manager, setting up your ads, your creative, and all those things, and then launch the campaign. But not everyone actually know how to look at their data effectively to make informed decisions as they go. Now, one of the important part of media buying is being able to understand your data effectively, being able to read the data for how it is, and use that data to analyze your ad account and then make informed decisions as you go on the long run. Now, that's why I'm making this video, to walk you through how I set up my columns in my ad account, how I track my metrics and make informed decisions. Now, what you cannot track effectively, you definitely cannot optimize for it. So getting this right will be the first step to knowing how to optimize your ad account effectively. I mean, in fact, sometimes when I look at people's ad account and I see how they set up their columns and I look at the metrics that they are tracking, it gives me an insight to know that they actually do not know what they are talking about. Now, looking at what I am pulling up right now is the Ads Manager. And to be able to do this effectively, you need to understand what the columns are. Now, all this here are the columns, as you can see how I set them up. But to do this yourself, you click on these three dotted rectangle lines there, and you can easily just customize your columns. Then select all the metrics that you want, how it is, and then use that to basically make informed decisions as you go. So you could do that and then name the column the way you want them to be. Now, for the purpose of this video, I am going to be setting up this column for an e-commerce account. Now, if you have a lead gen account or whatever account you're running, it is going to be the same in terms of like all the metrics. But what might be different will be either purchase or leads. So if you're running lead gen, you're probably going to be using the lead objective and looking at the metrics there, and then the CPL instead of CPA. So basically, when you set it up, you can just save and apply that to your Ads Manager. When you do that, it saves your column here for you, so that whenever you come into your Ads Manager to look at your data, you can just select it. For instance, now let's put this back to performance. Now, if I want to use this column that I already selected and defined myself, I can click on it and it shows me all the data there. I know that most people don't know how to do this because all they use is just either performance or performance and click. But if you're running ads, you need to be able to set up your columns effectively and look at your data correctly so you can make informed decisions as you go in the long run. So the first off, as we go into this video right now, is looking out for, what we currently have here is a turn off and on button. Now, this is it's very clear. If you want to turn off your ad, turn it off this way. If you want to turn it on, this is what you need to do that. And we have the campaign. This will be showing you all the campaigns you're running. So whatever campaign you set up, it will be up here with the naming convention and the likes. Now, one key thing to look out for after that is the delivery. Now, a lot of people don't actually look at this, but it's very important when you run ads because it shows you the current status of your ad campaign. Either your ad sets, your ad, this will show you the delivery of those ads. If your ad is active, it will show you that. If your ad is still pending, it will show you that. If it is inactive or learning, you'll find the information right on this side of the column. So this is very important to use. And the next thing afterwards is a new feature that Meta started showing right now in some ad accounts is the actions. Now, what this does is it shows you the actions that you can actually take on your ad account, such as if you have errors, it shows you the error there. And if you have performance issues, maybe you are seeing audience overlap, audience fragmentation, Meta would actually show that in this segment, so you can use that to make decisions in your ad account as you go. So it's also something to also keep there, and then you can just use that and see how it can be helpful in your ad account. Now, moving forward is the bid strategy. Now, as you can see, this is something to help you figure out the way that you're asking Meta to bid in the auction for you. Now, sometimes most people use highest volume. Some people do manual bids like cost cap, bid cap, target ROAS, minimum ROAS. All these are where you can actually see them. So if you're running a cost cap campaign, you see that in this segment. If you're using highest volume, you will see that in this segment. This helps you to look at account and basically see what bid strategy that they are using, and it's very important that you keep that also. And the next is the attribution settings. Now, this is also very important. A lot of people don't actually pay attention to the attribution window that they are running on Meta, which is not a good idea. Now, if you're just starting out a new account, I always encourage or advise that you use 7-day click and 1-day view. And this is because you need all of that data in your ad account. You need all of the learnings. So if you're only using 7-day click, it might be shortening the amount of volume of data you can actually get in your ad account. But if you're already running the account for a long time and you already have data, you're already seeing purchasing happening in the ad account. The key thing I always do when it comes to attribution is looking at my product and looking at my conversion window. So if I have a product that is very expensive, I know that people cannot buy by just seeing the ad one day, I always use a 7-day click, because I like to tell Facebook that, okay, I want people that will be able to convert in this particular window. If you're using 1-day click means you're telling Facebook to get to audience that can convert at just that one day when they see the ad. So if I'm running ads for product that does not have a very high cost, I oftentimes just stick with 1-day click, because the truth of this is, if you're running any ads, really, you always want to be using click only attribution, because if you're using view through, what it does is it takes increment, it takes those purchases that may happen either ways. So it just takes those values and it does not really bring incremental results to your campaign overall. So I always recommend that you stick with click-based attribution, either 7-day click or 1-day click, depending on what you're looking to achieve in your ad account. So you have that there. The next is the budget. So this is how much you're setting as a budget in your particular campaign. You will see that here. Now, one thing I always do when I set up columns like this is I try to treat it as a journey. I look at the marketing funnel overall, and I use that to set up my columns and see how they actually relate together. So I have budget here. With my budget, I have the amount spent. Now, this is very important. Most people don't look at their amount spent really. They don't compare how much they have as budgeted and how much they are currently spending in the ad account. Say your budget is about 5K and you're not spending that amount yet. It gives you an idea to know that, okay, you're not maxing your full spend yet. So what do we need to do to get back to spending the way we want to be spending? So this is very important for you. And just like I said, you would also have the budget, how much you're spending, and how much you're spending to actually acquire a customer. That's your cost per purchase. Now, if you're running lead gen, this would be cost per lead. So have this in mind, and you can just recreate this, and instead of selecting cost per purchase, you're going to select cost per lead. So this is very, very North Star metric. Now, one thing I do is this: I try to look at my performance metric, I look at my creative metric, I look at my website metric, so I can basically understand where the issues are coming from. Is the problem in my ad account from the performance metrics? Is it the ad metric, or is it the website metrics? This will help you when you audit your ad account. You'll be able to know the next steps to take as you go on the long run. So CPA, how much you're spending to acquire a customer, how many purchases are you getting? So this is very important. It shows you the number of purchase events that are actually attributed to your ads. So this is very important to have in your ads manager. And the next is the ROAS. Now, I don't really pay attention to this metric very often because ROAS is not really a vanity metric. I know the media buyers will say that ROAS is a vanity metric, but it is not really that. It just does not give you an overall blended approach to your marketing effort. Now, if you're using tools like third-party tools like NotBeam, Triple Whale, one key thing to always look out for is your marketing efficiency ratio. What's your MER? What's your blended CPA across all your marketing channels? So that will basically help you understand how you're doing, how you're performing, rather than just looking at your ROAS, which is not ideal when it comes to optimizing your overall marketing channels. So this is how much you're getting per spend in your ad account. And this is the conversion value. It just shows you the total value of all of the purchases that you've gotten. So when I optimize my account, the key metrics I look at for as North Star for me is how much am I spending? How much am I spending to acquire a customer? So that's the amount spent and my cost per acquisition. That's my cost per purchase. So those are very important metrics to look at for, because this will tell you if you're profiting per customer, and this will help you understand what needs to be done to get your account back in the right direction. Now, moving forward is the frequency. Now, most people don't look at this, and it's very, very, very sad. You need to understand if you're showing your ads to too many people, which will sometimes make your ad get fatigued. As much as possible, I try to keep my frequency on my prospecting campaign, that's a TOF campaign, around 2 to 3, because I don't want to show someone ads too often, because if I do that, they could maybe report the ad or just flag the ad, which will affect my relevance score and my page score basically. So you want to be ensuring that you're not spending too much on a particular campaign whereby your frequency is getting too high, and it will basically affect your ad account performance on the long run. So that's that, and keep that looking in your ad account as you optimize and look at things there. The next thing I look out for is my creative metric. Now, these are all the performance metric: your amount spent, your cost per purchase, your purchase ROAS on ad spend, purchase conversion value, the frequency. These are things to look out for. And if you're starting to look into your ad metric, that is where you begin to look at your cost per outbound click. Now, I don't use cost per click. I like to use my cost per outbound click, because cost per click could mean that anybody who maybe click on the profile of the ad or any surrounding around that ad. But it shows you that if you're using cost per unique outbound click, it shows you that, okay, how much are you spending for a particular click to your website? Let's click on the CTA itself and then go into the landing page. So it's very important to note that. I also use my unique outbound click-through rate instead of just the click-through rate option there. I use this because it gives me much more idea into how many people are looking at my ad, clicking on my ad, and taking them to the website. So these are two metrics to look out for as you optimize your ad account. And the next, which is where it begins to be interesting, is my hook rate. Now, this is a custom metric that you will need to create in the ads manager yourself. So when you click on this button here, let's say you want to customize a column and you click on create custom metric, it gives you the option to create metrics like this because they are not already in the ads manager. So what it means is your hook rate is the first 3 seconds of your video. How is your video hooking people and then making them to actually stop the scroll? So it's a formula that I use. It is your 3 seconds video play divided by your impression. So how many people are seeing your ad, and from that number, how many people are actually seeing about 3 seconds of the video, because that's where the hook actually happens. So this will help you understand if you're hooking people very well, or you need to make adjustments on your hook so that you can actually get the results you're looking for. So this is actually a very important metric to be looking at for if you're optimizing your creative, and it gives you an idea on how your creative is actually performing overall. So when I look at that, I also tend to look at my hold rate. Now the difference between the hook rate and the hold rate is, hook rate is just the first 3 seconds of your video, but the hold rate is how many people are actually seeing about 15 seconds more of the video. So let's say you have an ad and you have a good hook rate. Sometimes you can have a good hook rate, but after the first 3 seconds, people just bounce off your videos and don't continue to look at for that video the more. So that's very important to note. Your hold rate is how many people are seeing your ad and how many people are seeing about 15 seconds of the ad, the video there. It gives you an idea of maybe you need to change something in the middle in the video to get your users to actually stay more on the content. Because the truth is this, if you have a great hook and you don't have a good hold rate, it means that either you're just getting wrong attention or you're just stopping the scroll. It is maybe clickbaity, but people are not staying to actually watch the video. So you need to compare your hook rate and your hold rate together to see how important and how your ad is actually performing. Now, there are no really benchmark, but what I look at for benchmark with hook rate, I like to look at my hook rates ranging about 35%, about 40% upward. That way I can basically know that it is actually doing the job I want. And for hold rate, from about 15 seconds, 15% upwards, it's actually a very sweet spot to have there. Now, one key metric I also look at for, I learned this from Denny, is the vanity engagement rate. Now, I don't make optimizations of this really. I have this in my column to just see how many social proof I'm actually getting in my ads. So what's the post reaction like? What's the post comment like? What's the post shares? What's the post save? Divided by the impression. How many people are seeing my ad? How many people are making all these actions? So it's a custom metric, like I said. The hook rate, the hold rate, and the engagement rate are custom metric that you might need to create yourself in the Ads Manager. And I'll drop the formulas for you in the description video when I publish this video. You see that there. And when you do that, the next creative metric I look at for is my video average playtime. So it shows me how many minutes or seconds that my video is actually being played. So this is actually very important. While you're looking at your hook rate, your hold rate, your engagement rate, you need to also understand how much time people are spending to actually replay your video, watch your video generally. And just a caveat to note, when you're making decisions in your ad account, you have your primary metrics, which is your CP, your amount spent. Those are things that you actually would rely on to make the final decision in your ad account. But this creative metrics gives you an idea of how your ads are resonating and how it's performing with your audience. So this can also be a guide that you can use to make informed decisions as you look at your ad account on the long run. So this is the creative metric that I look at to optimize my ad account. And afterwards, add the website metric. So like I said, the key thing is to go through this as a journey from your ads to your website and how it actually impacting performance there. So looking at the website metrics that I look at for when optimizing my ad account, the first is the landing page view rate. Now this is a custom metric that you will need to set. It is the landing page view divided by the link clicks. So it shows you a percentage of the people that are actually going from your ad to your website and how many people are actually dropping off. Now on a metric standpoint, I like to have this as about 80% upward, or from 70 actually, but 80% upward shows you that your ad is actually resonating well and people are seeing your ad, clicking your ad and going to your website. So the landing page view percent rate is a very important metric to understand how your website is performing. Now after that, I set up the add to the cart. Now I know that most people don't look at this anymore, but it's very, very, very important to look at this because it shows you how many people goes to your website, how many people add it to their cart. So this is, if you're running e-commerce, how many people actually take a product and add to their cart there. Now this is very important so you can actually see where the drop off is when you're optimizing your ad account or looking at or auditing your ad account on a very high level scale. And after the add to the cart, I look at my checkout initiated. So now I compare this together, how many people go to the website, how many people add to their cart, and how many people actually try to check out whatever they've added to their cart. So this is very, very important to look out for. If you're seeing maybe very high figures here, but it does not reflect here, maybe you're seeing 200 add to the cart here, and you're seeing just 10 checkouts initiated here, then something might be wrong. It might be that your pixel is not completely set up, or there's just something wrong with the product. Or maybe just the landing page is not helping the customer convert better. This is not a custom metric, it is already in the Ads Manager. So when you click on customizing your column, you just need to search for the metric there and you can just add it there. Now the next on the website metric is my conversion rate. Now this one is a custom metric. I set this up myself. As you can see, the formula is purchases divided by link click. It shows you your conversion rate on your website. Now, I know that for e-commerce website, the benchmark of people say from 3% upward is actually a great conversion rate that you can actually have on your website. So pay attention to all of these things and see how it is actually impacting your performance on the long run. Now, one thing I also do when I look at my accounts like this is, if I'm looking at my ads, I want to see which ad is actually getting a very high conversion rate. That can be something to look out for, as it gives you an idea of what you need to tweak in the ads as you go on the long run. After that is the reach, impressions, and my CPMs. So these are already metrics that are in the ads manager. Shows you the number of people you have reached that saw your ads, and then most people don't know that reach is actually different from impression. Now you can see reach is different from impressions. Do you understand that? So it is a very different metric. In impressions, it is the number of times that your ads were seen on the screen. But while reach is different because it shows you people that saw your ad at least once. So it's a very different metric to pay attention to there. And the last is my CPM. So this is how much am I paying for 1,000 impression. Now, if you're seeing a very low CPM, it is great. If you're seeing high CPM, you need to optimize your ad account. Now, sometimes you need to understand that there are correlations between these metrics. If you have a very good click-through rate, it will oftentimes help you to reduce your CPMs. So that's why you need to look at this from a journey standpoint, not just the metrics only. You want to tell stories as you look through your metrics. You want to look at the storytelling part of your metric when it comes to, especially with the creative metric. What is hooking people? What is keeping them to watch the video? How are they engaging? How much time are they spending to watch the video? And then with the landing page, it's the same storytelling approach. It's the same metric you're looking at for how many people from your ads goes to the website. And then on the website, how many people add to the cart? How many people actually initiated the checkout? And how many people actually converted, which will be seen in your conversion rate. So guys, this is how I actually set up my ad account column. I use this very often, especially with e-commerce clients. Just look at their data, track effectively, and make informed decisions as I go on the long run. So I hope you find this video very helpful. If you do, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe so you can stay updated on every video that I post. I'll see you guys in the next video.